welcome or welcome back to me watching Winter Hill for the very first time.
P.S. This is part 2. Part 1 has been posted. Link in pinned comment.
I originally planned this for it to be a two-part little series, I don't know, of seasons 1 through 4 and then 4 through 8. I have not watched 9 yet. However, I started talking a lot more in the later seasons. These are all pre-recorded, by the way. They're compilations from TikTok. Where I had become a lot more comfortable, I think, with talking on a camera / to a phone, because talking to I record these on my phone, by the way, is very odd speaking to the literal abyss. I feel like anyone who's ever recorded a TikTok or a YouTube understands what I'm saying, where it's those first couple of videos I was whispering and I was very uncomfortable, and you could tell that I have no idea what I'm doing, and now I just blab constantly all the time, and I'm totally chill with it. So those videos became a lot longer. Seasons 1 through 4, I believe I had 20 something minutes. Seasons 4 through 6, I was at the 35-minute mark. So this is going to be now 3 parts. It's going to be 1 through 4, which is already posted. I'll see if I can link it down below, or maybe put it in the comments, something. This is going to be seasons 5 and 6, and then seasons 7 and 8, which I'm still uploading onto TikTok as of now, as I'm saying this. I'm recording this on Monday. This probably won't be up till Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Maybe TikTok will be gone by then. Oh my god. I need to figure out where I'm going to edit this, because I edit on CapCut. I need to figure out a new editing device, application, whatever. Anyways, I would say, I feel like this is what I mean when I say that I like to blab, and I've become a very good blabber. So in this video, please enjoy seasons 5 and 6. Leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite episodes are, what some of your favorite ships, some of your favorite rankings. Do you agree with my opinions? Do you not? Let me know. And then also, if you could subscribe, it helps the algorithm. I still am trying to learn how YouTube algorithm works, because I've been watching YouTube for years, obviously, but I haven't been creating on it very long. So okay, enjoy the video. Bye. There is a lot of unrealistic things in Winter Hill, but so far one of the most unrealistic is how put together their lives are at 21. Besides Peyton, whose life was falling apart 50% of the time, you have a published author, Nathan, who's almost drafted into the NBA. Haley is now a full-on teacher. I don't even know how North Carolina laws work, because in the state of California you need 4 years of a bachelor's degree and then a year and a half to get your credentials. They're both homeowners and have a full-time nanny. Do you know how expensive childcare is? Brooke is the it girl of the century, so iconic of her. But she has a clothing line, a magazine, who knows what else she's up to. And then you have Peyton, who's the assistant of the assistant. And can I just say, so relatable, queen. Oh, I hate this woman. I have started season 5 of One Tree Hill, and the nanny and I are not vibing. But also, Nathan, what the fuck is this? You can clothe yourself, don't start. He's entertaining her a little too much for my liking. I'm on episode 5, I think. This is after Haley told her not to wear a bikini in the pool, which, policing women's bodies, one thing, right? But back on the topic of this. He's brought up her late night skinny dipping adventures, and is yeah, I won't tell Haley. Boy! Y'all need to fire her. I'm so serious. Not me wishing unemployment on people, but I am wishing unemployment on her. The topic of new characters that I'm disliking, Lindsay. I'm disliking her a lot less than Carrie. She should be higher on my I tolerate scale. But I can't get on board with her, because I feel I'm being told constantly, oh, Lindsay's this really nice character. But I don't see niceties. I see passive aggressiveness. And maybe that's because at my core, I love Peyton, and I know that that's not a popular thing. The amount of people that I see shit on this girl is crazy. Because I don't think she's nearly as bad as people make her out to be. And I get that Haley would have stayed very close to Lucas, by extension also being very close to Lindsay. But just something about Haley also being no, she's great, is kind of annoying me. Because I get her being your girlfriend's back in town, and I feel some kind of way about it, right? But at that point, if you can't trust it, and you're being paranoid that he's cheating on you all the time, why stay in it? Just take yourself out of the situation. Are you either Lucas is number 1, or are you not? And are you comfortable enough to not be number 1? And if that's not the case, peace on out of there. Because guess what? It's not Peyton's fault that he's still in love with her. Take that up with Lucas. Could Peyton be nicer? Sure, but that's never really been Peyton. She calls people out on her shit, okay? She did with Victoria, and I was cheering her on for this. And Victoria's I can tell that you weren't raised by your mother, and she's well, neither was Brooke. Ooh, gagged her a bit. The character, I can't stand this dude. I kind of want to see him get run over by a car. Is that too much to say? And on a positive note here, I'm really liking Millie so far. The scene where you have Victoria telling Brooke, the store is going to be closed because no one bought anything. And Millie's I'll buy this. That really made me love her. Lucas, you dumb fuck. Okay, I have reached the proposal episode of One Tree Hill, along with the Laden Kiss episode, which is the same episode. They're literally 5 minutes apart. When that door opens and I was flabbergasted. The gasp that I gasped. I knew there was going to be a wedding eventually, because I've seen clips of it with the boy saw the comet line. So I knew that was coming, but I didn't think it would come on the heels of the Laden Kiss. Peyton's going over to apologize for real. Baby girl, they can never make me hate you. And just She held such composure. I applaud her. Because Peyton could have blown this up if she wanted to. Like, self-restraint, go off, queen. But then you have this loser who can't even make eye contact with her. Like, I was getting triggered, but that's topic for another day. Can I just say what a dum-dum he is? Because, like, you have a whole house and you put the ring, which you were going to give to Peyton, in a drawer in your bedroom. Like, find a better hiding place. And also, you can't convince me that he intended to do that. Like, had she not found it, he would have never proposed. And I stand with that. Brooke Davis, friend of the year, friend of the decade, friend of the century. Like, these two are the real love story. No, Brooke and Owen, I'm into. And just when you think the plot isn't thick enough, Haley saw the Layden kiss. Topic of kisses. This one, I'd be pissed off though. This one I was rooting for. My favorite cheaters. Okay. Side note, is everyone in the show a cheater? Obviously. And then Nathan. And don't think I forgot about Chris Keller. I think Brooke's the only one who hasn't. Shout out to Brooke. Hayden Sawyer Defense Club. Wee coming through. I fear she ate in this library. And I know some people are probably like, she was too mean. And I say, she could have been meaner. Because her fiance proposed to me with the same ring. Oh, I love that. Am I also a bitch? Maybe. And I know some people may think, she was a little too mean with the dad comment. But she didn't know, so it doesn't count. Okay? Because Lindsay and her pig party were really annoying me, okay? I'm not a Lindsay stan, I've made that very clear. But let's go tit for tat here, okay? Because she does multiple things to Peyton, too. So, like, Peyton was provoked. She calls Peyton a bitch, jobless, bulimic. She rubs Lucas in her face and then makes comments that they're in the library that Peyton literally got shot in. But Peyton went too far. Get the fuck out of here. But Daddy's dead now, so I have to feel bad. I'm sorry, but I don't, I don't know what it is about her that I just find so unlikable. And I think it's that whole, show don't tell stuff, right? Because everyone's saying, oh, she's so nice. Oh, she did this. You have Haley being like, well, I knew that I could love her when blah, blah, blah happened. And it's I'm just seeing her being passive-aggressive and, trying to, mark her territory. And it's girlie, you were just insecure in this relationship. Own up to that, and then maybe I could like you a little bit more. And she finally did this episode. But even then, I'm just I don't vibe with you. I'm also not vibing with Haley right now. What the fuck, Haley? Being late to the stew, but bringing your friend along to it is... And I know Nathan's being flirty with the nanny right now, but she doesn't. And something else that it's girl, you are being a little too rough on Nathan right now because that's not Haley. She's feeling very out of character because he was literally almost paralyzed 4 months ago and she's like, get your shit together. Bro, chill. Can I just say, I have to mention this because I haven't yet, but not only Haley has done this, other characters have done it too. It's really annoying me, and it's when they're correcting Quentin's grammar, it feels very racially motivated. I'm not here for it. I've gone off topic. Back to the library. I just want the best for Brooke Davis. Why does her mom have to suck? Overall, I really liked this episode, but there is times where I was what's happening? At one point, it got very sapphic, and you're are they gonna kiss? Because I felt that. And then also they're talking about cannibalism, which was very odd. And then last thing, Jamie with his little outfit is so cute. Season 5 of One Tree Hill has been rough for the Naley and me. I am 99 episodes in, and I am upset at both of them. He let this go on for far too long. And I mentioned this in another video. Something about Haley this season has been very off to me. She almost feels out of character because for the longest she was presented as the most empathetic character in the show, right? That was a core characteristic of her. And right now you have Nathan, whose life completely changed. He became almost paralyzed 4 months ago. And she's just not reacting in the way that I feel she would. Something about it on her part seems different. Especially because she knows his history and his suicidal tendencies in the past. You would think that maybe had he been down in the dumps for a year, I think it would make more sense to me. But 4 months isn't a long time. Do you know what I mean? And I get her being pissed off that she thinks he's cheating on her with the nanny. But also, not to be that girl, but babe, do you remember Chris Keller? Y'all were married back then too. We've also had the Jamie pool incident, and I don't want to be a parent shamer, but if you're gonna have a pool in your house that doesn't have a gate, maybe put your kid in swimming lessons. Just a pro tip. It also annoyed me when they were at the party and she goes up to Skills and is Jamie's a little boy, please keep that in mind. It's a girl. He and Brooke are the only people watching out for your kid at this point in time. Please. That she's going through a lot, and so is Nathan, but this is not the person that you take it out on. Not that I've been nice to Nathan, I'm gonna shit talk him because in that fight that they were having, he was so annoying. He was very me, I do this, and it's I do that. Dude, she has put up with so much of your shit. Please take a step back. Even just with the accident, even stuff that happened prior, and you also have him crashing at Lucas's place for a week, and it's you couldn't reach out to her in that week. You did nothing but play basketball and have your little pretty party. I get maybe she didn't want to see you, she blocked your number, but you could have written a letter. You wrote one to Dan. So you're not telling Lucas about his visit. You're making him look bad. You're making him look dumb. You're making this whole thing not work the way it's supposed to. Also, I feel like Karen and like Deb should have definitely been in here, but that's beside the point. Something going completely wrong in weddings is like such an overused trope, but you know what? This time I ate it up. The boy saw a comment and suddenly his life had meaning. What if I just collapse on the floor? Like I knew of the line, I knew of the scene because I've seen it in edits, but watching it like live happen, not live, but like 20 years later happen live on my TV for the first time. It was everything. There was a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, she stops the wedding. This is very Speak Now coded. Like I love it. But no, actually that doesn't happen. Like it continues. I also forgot this dude existed until this very episode. But anyways, bye Lindsay. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. All the dream sequences in this episode were interesting. Some I enjoyed more than others. This one had me very confused because I was like, is there an issue with their roof? Like, is their bathroom leaking? And obviously, Karen came back for the wedding that didn't happen. Well, it like sort of happened, but it didn't go as planned. And I think another thing that I just realized, which may be really dumb on my part, because it's there very clearly that Haley, Lucas, and Jamie are a Karen Keith parallel. I made the connection with these two, but it didn't occur to me that Haley is the Karen, you know? Which would make Nathan the Dan, which I don't want to talk about, probably more depth some other time. But in the meantime, Dan may be a psychopath, but he is a psychopath whose storylines and character I enjoy watching because it provides very great entertainment value. And Nanny Carey is like actually insane, like actually probably needs some medical assistance. And not to shame the people taking care of this child again, because I've done it before. But what do you mean skills? Like he is a 4-year-old boy and you're just leaving him alone. They're like, the restroom's right there. Still, you guys don't have like that everything can go wrong mentality that I do. The fact that they're just letting this little like child wander around a room full of people make me very unsteady, and I'm just like, no, you need to go with him to places because bad people exist. I think it makes sense, to be like, oh, it's Dan who took him. But also, how are you not thinking like, oh, we had a nanny who was like a little off in the head. I thought she was having a romantic relationship with Nathan. Like clearly something could occur. And I really want to see where this goes because I feel like Dan bringing him back can go one of two ways. So I'm interested in that. Ranking One Tree Hill characters, except I'm only like on season 5, episode 12, I think. Skills. I like Skills. I feel like we're introducing him a little bit more. That's kind of fun and fresh. I'm gonna put him at a solid 6. Peyton, I actually really love Peyton. I feel like that's not a common thing. To what I've seen, people don't like her, but I do. Number 2. Haley's kind of annoying me right now. But I do like Haley for the most part. Like I really loved her at one point, and she's like crept down. I'm gonna say 4. Brooke is currently my number 1. Love her. Rachel. How do people feel about Rachel? Because she's kind of iconic. Like she's kind of an icon. If 5 or 7, I'm gonna go with 5. I might regret that later, but we'll worry about that then. Okay, yeah, that would probably have been my number 5. 7. 8. Mouth, I used to really like, but he's become kind of gross. Which, like, the self-insert makes sense, If you know, 3. Who's the last one? Oh, yeah, I don't care about this dude. When Lindsay ran out on her wedding, I really thought that was the last time we were going to see her, but boy, was I wrong. Because he can't seem to get over her. You know what? I'm upset. Because I do know Peyton and Lucas end up together in season 6 or the last season, which means that they get together at some point in season 6, probably early on. And it's like, right now, he is not deserving of Peyton, okay? She has been through enough with him, and it's gonna feel like some consolation prize, and I'm not here for it. Also, were they setting up something here? Because there was a couple times where I was like, is it going where I think it's going? Until shock of the century over here. Remember, I stopped watching with the cabin episode of season 3 because I got insanely bored. I also almost stopped with this episode. Like, I think it took me 3 times to get through this episode is where Nayli is at the Brooke meets with the adoption agency lady, and can I just say, this lady was bringing up the most random things that just don't seem relevant in the slightest. Like, why is she talking about her relationships in high school? Like, be so fucking serious. And he who shall not be named is also in this episode with Peyton. Why was she talking to the record store dude? Like, that just seemed so random and so unnecessary. Also, 37. Okay. And these two were on my screen again. It was a rough episode for me, okay? I have met baby Andrew. And Owen has pieced on out of there because a baby's too much. I don't know I've mentioned this, but the double date episode, okay? Chase returned, right? He's like the friend that they didn't know who he was gonna be. I never liked Chase in season 4. Like, something about him was just very boring and very just not for me. Here, I find him incredibly likable. Well, on topic of Brooke and her love interest, because I am at the season 5 finale, so we've gotten to the point where like Lucas calls someone up and it's like, it could be Brooke, it could be Lindsay, it could be Peyton, and I'm pretty confident it's gonna be Peyton, but there's little moments in the season where I'm like, are we like bringing back the love triangle? What is this about? Some of these conversations feel like they're closing a door on Layden. I know that's not going to happen, so I'm conflicted. Anyways, to round stuff out in this specific video, really enjoyed seeing that new side of Brooke with Angie. With Haley, I'm happy she's getting back into music. Peyton girl, please stand up. Dan Scott, what a character. I'm currently in the season 5 finale and he has just gotten ran over. He also has 6 months to live, probably less now. Again, just got ran over. However, Haley like flew, and she was fine, so he might be fine too. Last time I spoke about him, he was getting out of jail. He's now officially out. Also the only person that I know that, one, gets a tombstone before they're dead, and 2, gets one 4 times the size of a normal one. And I think he's such an interesting character because, like, yeah, he's awful, but I don't hate him. Like, there's something about him that is so entertaining that, like, I can't hate him. There's sometimes where he's making, like, legit sense, and I'm like, damn, am I siding with Dan Scott? And then on to the Jamie of it all, right? I'm still kind of confused as to why they beat him up when he brings Jamie back from being kidnapped. Like, that's still not making perfect sense to me, but it's fine. I get why Nathan and Haley don't want him around Jamie, but I also get that, like, Jamie wants to know him, and, like, if he's gonna die soon, like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, Jamie doesn't know, and I guess, like, you can't really explain why everyone dislikes her. I mean, you can, but that would be a whole other kind of war. Like, him dropping the jersey off for Jamie, that was like kind of cute, but he's also like narcissistic and evil, so I don't know if I'm believing it. Like, I don't believe the sincerity of it. Also, this clown was creepy as fuck. That whole thing of him and the flesh colored balloon, I didn't like it. It was weird. Like, narcissistic and evil. There was a time when I really thought he was gonna like kill the guy who was number 1 on the pager thing for the heart. Also, I feel like that's a HIPAA violation. Like, I don't see in what world they would tell someone like, hey, this person is ahead of you on the transplant list. But I still think that this is the season of things not making much sense, like Brooke with the adoption agency, and then how they just like hand her a baby in the airport and her like, okay, be gone. Lucas Scott is public enemy number 1. Yes, he is. I have reached the season 5 finale of One Tree Hill, and currently Lucas has made a little call. We don't know. Could it be Lindsay? Could it be Brooke? Could it be Peyton? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Peyton, but I need her to come and be like, absolutely not, motherfucker. Like, he needs to grovel. He needs to suffer. And then we have Haley and Peyton up on a rooftop. And can I just say, wasn't Haley like Team Lindsay? Like, not that long ago. Like, girl, what's up? Now we have her being like, Lucas has always loved you. You should be with. Girl, shut up. Now the narrative has changed, and apparently Lucas has been into her since like the 7th grade. These little brick notes. But what happened to, he saw the comment and then suddenly his life had meaning, right? Like, I don't think Peyton at the age of 12 was rooming in that comment. Do you know what I mean? Then again, I don't think they spoke to that day. Oh, wait, and now I have a question. Am I supposed to believe that they've known each other that long, which would make sense, right? It's like a small town, but they didn't speak to each other until the 10th grade or whatever it was? I don't even think she knows his name on the pilot, but she knows that it's like Nathan's brother. Oh, I have some confusing thoughts here. None of them are relevant. You know what is relevant? My hatred for him. My hatred for him. I want him to get ran over. You know, Dan's done it. Haley's done it. We're clicking off Scott's. And I feel like he should be next. Peyton girl, I'm begging you, stand up. Stand up. This is so embarrassing. Can't stand Lucas right now. Can someone call Drake? I want Peyton and Drake again. But my theory with the phone calls, his call was to Peyton. I don't know who Lindsay's would be. But I think Brooke is probably Victoria. Last on the topic of people getting ran over. My guess is Dan is gonna go into like a coma, and then he's gonna get his heart, and then he's gonna be fine. That's my guess. I'm upset. Like, I'm so mad that I'm not happy. Like, I want to be, because I loved Lucas and Peyton for the longest, and now that they're together, I'm mad. Like, he deserved to suffer. I'm sorry. He put her through the ringer. Low-key embarrassed the shit out of her. Like, this is Peyton, please stop. So season 6 opens with these like dream sequences of Lucas and Brooke after like the call and being like, who does he call to marry? And for a second I was like, oh my god, are these two like actually together? Like, did they have like a little like platonic marriage happening? Because like there was that one time when she was like, hey, can I use you as my donor to have kids? And I was like, is that where we're going with this? That is not where they go with this. And then there's also one with Lindsay, and then it gets revealed that no, it's Peyton who's at the airport. And I so wanted to be excited, but it wasn't. Like, it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel deserved. I'm glad a marriage doesn't occur and that they go back to LA for the proposal. And I think that's better. I still wanted more because I feel like it's coming out of nowhere. Like, he was literally talking about how much he hated her like an episode ago. What? I'm just like, am I alone in this? Because I know some people don't like them. I'm like, that's fine. I could see why they wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. But like, I really like them. And I'm not happy. I'm not excited. I'm not like happy. And I'm so confused as to why I'm not. Because I feel like I should be.
I'm so proud of who Chloe is that she wanted to give her relationship a second chance, even after he dogged her and embarrassed the shit out of her.
They gave us a fake out of a fake out. Can I just say One Tree Hill is evil? I need to go back a little. So there's this one girl who's like shoplifting at Clothes Over Bros. And then later that night, Brooke gets attacked. Are these two connected? I don't know. Like, does anyone buy her actually falling down the stairs? Because I don't know too much about how falling down the stairs happens. I fell down the stairs once. Maybe I do. Mine was at school. Anyways, it's a serious conversation. Let's get our serious faces on. I don't think she would be left with these bruises on her eyes, but like her nose being totally fine and like bruises all over her body if she had fallen down the stairs. Like, Peyton, are you this dumb? Then we have Deb. I don't know if Deb and Brooke ever had a conversation before this. Let me know. But I do like that she reached out to someone, that someone being Deb, and then Nathan coming in later. During all of this, we also have Quentin thriving at life, and like I have really grown attached to this character. And he's at the gas station, and we hear a gunshot and it ends up being Brooke. So I was like, oh, it's a fake out, cool. And then it's not. I was not ready. I didn't think I cared that much, and then I was like close to tears, and it was the fucking cape's fault. Okay, it was the fucking cape's fault. Like, this was a lot. This was an experience. On the topic of experiences, hard launching your relationship with your son's friend at a funeral is definitely one of them. But I did enjoy the Jamie Grandpa Skills banter. We had Quentin's brother with the jersey. Like, oh my god, what a way to start the season. Like, I don't even feel like I'm saying anything of substance. Like, I'm kind of just like retelling you what I just experienced because I need a way to like let it out. And I only have friends, specifically not friends who watch this show. So like, you're all I have. Like, have a combo, like friends, you know? Was I the only one that thought this was a fake out, or was it other people as well? And then when like they get the call that it's like, oh, Quentin has been shot, you're like, is him getting shot is one thing, right? Like, people go through a lot on the show, but for him to be like outrightly killed was shocking. And now I bring it back to Kidnapping Girl. Is she gonna be another like Quentin prototype? Like, Brooke is gonna mentor her like Nathan did with Quentin? I could see that happening. Yo, Nanny Carey's like actually crazy. Like I knew there was some loose wiring up here, but she's like actually insane. At first, I truly believed that Dan was in the hospital, and I was like, why is no one else coming in? Like, why is no one being like, we have a nurse here who's not on staff? He wasn't at the hospital. She went from kidnapping to adult napping. Wait, that sounds like adults taking naps. You know what I mean? And like, put this man through the ringer. And you know, when you think about it, like in the grand scheme of things, one's a kidnapper, one's some murderer who killed his brother. So you would think that like Dan's the bad guy in the situation. But I was rooting for Dan the entire time. I was like, yeah, play mind tricks on this woman. And we've learned some things about her, which I love the layering of her losing her dad and having a son that died. Like, I think it works for the narrative. Which doesn't mean I sympathize with her, but also shout out to Jamie for being a little smart kid when it came to the cornfield. I was worried for Haley for a minute, and I was like, girl, how did you get yourself into the situation? Like, why didn't you Google the hospice place before you got there? Like, a lot of sketchiness, being like, Jamie, stay in the car. And then it like hit me that like Google was around, but it wasn't what it is today. At least I don't think so. I don't know, what is this, like 2009? I don't know how it worked back then. I used to use the internet for Girls Go Games at the time. Thankfully we had Deb come to the rescue. Shout out Deb. Love Deb. I'm loving her, honestly, more and more by the day. And then we had Mr. I'm Already a Murderer, so let me murder again. Dan Scott, everyone. Round of applause. So I finally met Julian. I have been waiting for this dude to come into the show for so long. For a second, I thought he was Owen, and then Owen said his name, and I was like, oh, that's not Julian. Because I do know all about him and Brooke. And by that I mean, I just know that they end up together and have kids. There's like a wedding episode. I've seen a couple edits, so I know who this guy is. No, why does he kind of look like Lucas? Like, from the back and from like a specific angle, I was like, he looks like Lucas. Like, I thought it was at him at one point. I did not know, and I was very, very surprised by, is that he had a thing with Peyton? Like, damn, Brooke and Peyton really do share boyfriends. Like, a lot. The topic of Peyton, I've met her father, who I could not care less about, to be honest. Good for her for finding out and like getting that closure, but like, I personally did not care for that character. Another thing I haven't been caring for these last couple episodes, Slamball. Oh, and also, I don't know what they're doing with his character, but something shifted, and I think it's their way of like trying to get him out of the show. Not to be a total negative Nancy. Brooke and Sam, it's a storyline that I'm really, really enjoying. I think it has great elements of humor and of heart, and I think this is great for the Brooke character. Like, I feel like Brooke with the teenager shines a lot more than she did with the baby storyline, but that's just me. Like, this moment, you can't tell me that is not adorable. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Brooke Davis is a better person than I am, because I would have lost my shit with what happened in Clothes Over Bros. On a more mixed note here, Peyton and Lucas, I'm still not loving them, which, like I said, I am upset over, because I've been rooting for this for seasons now. And now that they're together, I'm not here for it because of everything that happened in season 5. Like, there were some moments that I'm convinced were meant to be endearing, but I was just annoyed, and I fear that they might have lost me. Like, I don't know how to come back from this, which is sad for me, almost as sad as Lucas's flop of a book. But he's not getting a movie made, so like, cool. So he stays winning, I guess. Random question here: the Ravens book that is now going to become a movie. Is it considered like a memoir? Like, because example, the Comet one, right? It's about a scientist and it's a love story, so it's a work of fiction. But when people in this world are reading the Ravens book, are they reading it as a work of fiction? Like, do they not know that the characters of like Lucas, Peyton, Brooke, all of them are fictional, are real people in this world? Do they think it's fictional characters? Am I making sense? Like, is he an author that dabbles in like memoirs and in fiction? I hope that makes sense. I am now a proud mouth hater. He had been towing on the line for a very long time, and now I'm done. So fuck this slimy bitch. Gigi needs to learn how to take a fucking hint and how to understand what boundaries are. And I stand 10 toes down for Millicent. Me and her, we like this. Like, hell yeah, go bang the cute bartender. I have been done with Mouth's toxic bullshit for a while, and his obsession with Millie's virginity being like, I'm such a good guy. Like, shut up. His whole nice guy act got old back in season 4, and I've been sick of it ever since. Also, like, sexual harassment in the workplace. Like, why was she not fired? And on top of the openly flirting, she's like straight up mocking Millie, and he's like so chill about it. Like, Millie, girl, leave him. He was straight up not clicking him, because this is even after Nathan points out, like, hey, I went through something similar. Like, take my advice, don't string her along. And what does he do? String her along. So I can't even be mad at Millie for this. I support women's rights and I support women's wrongs, especially when her boyfriend's being a dumbass. She never took her shopping. Tell me why that line alone had me close to tears. Brooke Davis, I love you. I recorded and posted 2 separate One Tree Hill videos that talked about the storyline that happens from episodes 12 and 13 of Sam and Brooke. You know what I'm talking about. And it was very interesting. I was on the edge of my seat, but those videos keep getting taken down and going under review for violating community guidelines. So I'm not going to talk about that story anymore, because I'm annoyed. But you can Google if you don't remember that storyline. I found very interesting. I also talk about like the 1920s episode. I did not like that episode. Anyways, back to this one. So the place where I am in Winter Hill, Victoria has returned, and she's trying to get very close to Sam, which I like this side of Victoria. Like, I'm interested to see more. Like, I feel like there's more complexity to her character than just being like this unloving mother who's like only out for her business. Like, I feel like there's more there. There has to be. And those layers pop out is really nice, okay? Because I feel like there's still hope that they can like make amends for everything that happened in Brooke's child. Like, I really do believe it. I feel like some parents, you know, it's too far gone. Like, you could say that with like Dan and Nathan, for example. But here, I feel like there's hope. On the topic of Dan, when him and Deb are babysitting Jamie, I think is what it does, and they have a discussion about what happened to Keith, right? And he says like, yeah, I made to pull the trigger, but you were the one who loaded the gun. Oh my god, he gagged me with that, because you know what? The reason that he does kill Keith is because he thinks he's responsible for the fire, but he's not. That's Deb. And you're like, oh my god, I forgot about that like element of the situation. So I'm kind of like, I'm not saying that she's guilty in this scenario and he's absolved of it, but that line did have me kind of shook. I'm not gonna lie. Another moment that had me kind of shook. Okay, so Nathan's playing for the Chiefs, right? And a lot of people will make like Taylor Travis comparisons with Haley and Nathan, and I was like, oh my god, this really is the guy in the Chiefs. Like, you know, that's very niche. No, it's not that niche. I feel like the Swiftie One Tree Hill community probably have a Venn diagram moment. Yeah. Haley has also quit teaching, which makes me kind of sad because I liked teacher Haley. Like, I liked the high school element of the show, and even them as adults now still being in the high school element as the teachers and the coaches. But we're also not getting the coaching part. I didn't realize that till I was like about to record this, and I was like, literally, what happened to the basketball team? Like, Lucas now in his movie world, and Nathan like pieced out and lives in a different city now. So like, they really just dropped this storyline. I don't know, right? Like, I think Q died, and then they were like, okay, that's a wrap. Am I a Lucas Scott stan? He really won me over in this episode. This is You, Me, and the Bottle Makes 3, episode 17 of season 6. And can I just say that opening, like, it really had me expecting the worst. I was like, oh my god, maybe she does have ovarian cancer. Maybe, like, this is her ovary snapping. Like, I really thought the worst that was gonna happen here. Like, it's giving that or a pregnancy loss storyline. I actually ended up Googling what Peyton has, to see if it was, like, that high risk as they were portraying it. Apparently it's not such a life or death situation. So there's different storylines, play, act, form, in this episode, and I don't love that, to be completely honest with you. Like, I would rather them be like dispersed in between, because the Nathan and Haley one was by far the weakest, and I was very bored during the storyline. I've briefly mentioned I like the Dan, Jamie, and Deb one. Dan is so charming, and then all of a sudden he becomes like the Dan Scott that you know, and you're like, ooh, I knew he was in there. Listen, I give Lucas a lot of shit on here, but I really liked him and I really liked where he was coming from and like the way that it's presented. Maybe it's because of the way, like, due to current events and kind of like what, how can I say this? Maybe because so much of our society likes to police women's bodies. Ironically, it's men. Oh, actually, no, it's very on brand that a lot of the time it is men. But seeing Lucas not be like, hey, your only job in this world is to have that kid, so you better have that kid, was like really nice, which may be like the bar is in hell, but it was. He's communicating, he's in tune with his emotions, and these are the things that I really liked about like season 1 Lucas, right? And then he loses himself. These two are very cheesy, okay? And I've been shitting a lot on them this whole season because I loved Peyton and Lucas, and then I can't still completely get over like his treatment of her towards the end of season 5 and like the things that he said, like I don't forget, but I can enjoy the sweet moments. I wish I could like forget what happened in season 5, and I think I'd be so happy for them. I'm just not like 100% there yet, but like I'm happy for them. I know one of the more like storylines that we've had this season is like that whole start where like Brooke is like, I don't do that, I'm a mother, and it's like clearly it's alluding to something, right? Like you're supposed to be like, oh, scandalous, but it ends up being that he told her he loved her. Like okay, whatever. On my journey of watching One Tree Hill for the first time, there's been a couple things that I've been kind of waiting for them to happen, and Dan and the Heart has been one of them, and we've reached that moment. Does it make sense logically? No, I've watched enough Grey's Anatomy to know that. But I enjoy it for the gag and the giggle. I enjoy it for the moment of when Lucas is there and Dan tells him, like, I'm getting hard. And he's like, yeah, about time. I enjoyed it for that, okay? I enjoyed the scenes with him and Miss Lauren. Like, yes, Miss Lauren, get it. Clearly, Miss Lauren has found another. I understood why Deb and Skills broke up, and I think it takes, like, some great maturity and there's, like, some depth there that I can enjoy and I can appreciate. But I really liked them. So, kind of sad. Hopefully Lauren and Skills grows on me. I think Jamie learning about Dan was important, but I'm not gonna lie, I am gonna miss this dynamic because I feel like they worked really well together. Can I just say, Peyton ran how many red lights in season 1 and was completely fine, and here when her life just finally seems to be going well, it's like boom, diagnosis, boom, car crash. Let the girl live. Yeah, this week is horrible. I kept being distracted by it in flashbacks that I couldn't even enjoy what was happening. I didn't know that Peyton makes it out of this season. I would be really worried right now because, like, they keep trying to take her out. She just got in her car crash and Lucas has started, like, fixing up the comet. And can I just say, I am weirdly emotionally attached to this car that does not belong to me. Like, why am I so attached to this comet? Like, he was fixing it and I was getting emotional. I love that they had Nathan and Jamie come in and, like, this makes sense, right? It's not like some random, like, oh, he's fixing her car for her. Like, he genuinely knows how to do it because of Keith, right? Like, a while ago, I went back and I rewatched maybe, like, the first 8 episodes of season 1, and can I just say, I had forgotten how much I loved Keith and how much I loved the Lucas and Keith relationship. And because I started the show 2 years ago and then stopped like a little over halfway of season 3, that I completely forgot their dynamic and their relationship, and like how that was like genuinely like a core element of the show, right? Like, I had to cap myself at 8 episodes because I was like, girl, you're getting a little too far into this. Like, you need to chill and like at least finish it the first time around. Like, genuinely, like, this close to buying myself a Keith Scott Body Shop sweater. Like, I need that. And I think part of the reason that I wanted to go back, and it's like, I do know that this is Lucas and Peyton's last season. And I'm like, just what does that mean for this show, right? Because, like, I can't imagine One Tree Hill without Lucas and Peyton. And it's like, what does this show become? Like, is it even worth it? Like, I mean, it goes on for 3 more seasons after that, right? So, like, actually, I was gonna say clearly, like, it's good. But there's some shows that have gone on that I'm like, ooh, that should have been canceled a couple seasons ago. You know what I mean? Because as much as I enjoy them, I still can't get over the season 5 bullshit. And like, here's the thing, I went back to season 1, right? And I enjoyed them season 1. I was like, hell yeah, I'm rooting for them. But I just, season 5 ruined them for me, and I'm really mad. You know what I'm also kind of mad at? Me starting to love Victoria. But that's a topic for another day. Late wedding, we're here. This fucking scene where Brooke is helping Peyton put on her dress. I almost fell to tears. Why was this the most emotional part of the episode? Like, it wasn't even the wedding that had me like, oh my god. It was them. It was the two of them. I'm gonna be honest, it felt kind of like out of nowhere, but I liked it. Something kind of like funny that Peyton's ex-boyfriend is the best man and Lucas's ex-girlfriend is the maid of honor. The vows were cute. When Haley brings out like the little tin, it's like, oh. I also super like adamantly opposed children on leashes, but I think Skills with Jamie on a leash was like a funny little gag. And like, you know, sometimes they're necessary, especially when you know like this child has gotten kidnapped at a wedding before. Like, let's take things into account. Shay is randomly here, as is the Brooke-alike. And here's the thing, okay? If you've been here long enough, you know I love will they, won't they. I love the build-up. I love tension. I love angst. I love drama. I am a big fan of ships before they become couples. And then 9 out of 10 times I get bored. But when they're like slow dancing, you have Brooke and like Nick Lachey, and then you have Julian and the Brooke-alike, and they're like looking at each other as they're like slow dancing. Oh, I loved it. I think it's fucked up that Julian brought it down. Yes, I do, because Brooke was so excited and then she fucking saw her look-alike. You know, I was upset. I also will say, I think it's very odd of Lucas to invite him for like the Peyton aspect, but also like you invite him and you give him a +1. Like, you did not make your point here clear of like, oh, he's being invited to be Brooke's date. Like, someone needs to knock some sense into Lucas every once in a while, and this was one of those instances. But I didn't stay mad at Julian too long, you know. One thing that I also really loved is that conversation that he has with Victoria, where he like sticks up for Brooke, but it's also like, you know, like, I've known you my whole life, because I related to that with my father. And it's like one of those things where it's like Julian and Brooke are so similar in so many different ways. And I think it got mentioned earlier where it's like, you know, Brooke was the member of that love triangle at one point with Lucas and Peyton, and she says like, you know, I've been there, so you don't want to get in the middle of that. And even he says like when he's reading the Ravens, like he read it for Peyton, but he ended up relating the most to Brooke. And I think there's something really cute about them. And then again, just when things are turning up, just when it seems like, you know what, Lucas and Peyton are gonna have a happy little night, happy little moment, a sliver of joy in their fucking traumatic ass life, boom, they're really trying to kill off my girl. Gonna show her the car. He's gonna show her the fucking car. Also, like, Lucas, how long did it take you? Because we see like one drop of blood, and then by the time he comes in, there's like a whole puddle. Like, how? And the most unrealistic storyline in Winter Hill goes to not creepy ass Derek and his stalker tendencies, not Nanny Carrie and her craziness, not even the dog eating Dan's heart, but this right here. Because in what world would they be allowed into the gallery during Peyton's operation? In what world? Again, I have watched enough Grey's Anatomy to know that doesn't happen. So I have reached the season finale of One Tree Hill. And this episode honestly feels like a series finale. Like, I wonder if other people like see that as well. That it feels like it wraps up everything so beautifully. Again, we have them almost killing Peyton off for what, like the 4th time this season. And it makes it look like that is what's gonna happen. Like scenes like this, I feel like it's presenting it as like, oh, she doesn't make it. And then it's like, oh no, she does. She wakes up, and it's really cute actually. A lot of really cute moments with like Baby Sawyer and other characters, like Karen. Like, where was Karen during the wedding? Like, that's something I've been wondering for a while. But I think what takes the cake for me is the scene with them and Brooke, where we find out that Sawyer's middle name is Brooke, and I was like close to tears, because I genuinely love these two, and I know people have their thoughts of like they're actually like horrible to each other and like they're not that great of friends. In my opinion, they are, and I don't know if it's just like that as humans, like Sophia and Hillary have like great chemistry and great love for one another that just kind of like radiates from my TV screen, but I genuinely love the two of them. Another moment that had me close to tears was when we find out that like Nathan makes it to the NBA. And here's the thing, I don't know shit about basketball. Like, my knowledge of basketball stems from this show. Like, I genuinely don't care, like, I'm gonna be honest. But I was so happy for him. When you have Jamie's reaction, you have Mouth who like gets the announcement, like, oh my god. What I mean when I say it feels like a series finale, because so many things were just like almost like wrapped up so beautifully, but also have like open endings where you could see that they're gonna be happy in the future, like Brooke and Victoria. Like, I'm very excited to see how their relationship develops in the next 3 seasons. And then we have Julian and Brooke, and I really want Sam to come back so that they feel like a whole little family, but I don't know how much that's a possibility. Like, I don't know if she comes back, because I feel like the way that they like ended her storyline almost feels like it's a wrapping up of the character, and I hope it's not, but that's kind of what it felt like she was more like of a 1-season character arc. I'm here for blocking reasons because there is a in his hand. So that storyline with Dan and with Whitey, whoa. And then you have like Nathan come in and it's like, I'm here to tell my coach, like, oh, there's some stuff with Dan that it's like, I know I should hate the guy, but I don't. And it's like, am I just easily manipulated? Like, I would like to believe that I'm not, but I think it's because you see certain things from Dan that other characters don't, and it's like, that's, I think, why. I don't know, am I just like weirdly empathetic towards Dan Scott? Maybe his talk with Whitey, which like I didn't think we were gonna see Whitey again, so like that was cool. But also his talk with Peyton when he's like, yeah, I want to meet Sawyer because like she's the only one in my life who doesn't know what I've done. Also, first off, bold of you to assume she's in your life. Second of all, oh my god, that's actually like kind of sad, because now even Jamie knows. Like, the Jamie Dan duo little combo I thought was great for showing different layers of Dan, And now that that's gonna be gone, that's gonna be gone because Jamie wants nothing to do with him at this point because he now knows the truth. So it's like that is so true. Consequences to his own actions, but they make that guy so damn likable. Ooh, shout out Paul Johansson, because I feel like other people will not be able to do this, but he does an amazing job. Now we have to say goodbye to them, and as much as I was shitting on them this season because I still have my problems that happened with what happened in season 5 with their storyline, I'm sad to see them go. Like I wonder what the show's gonna like become. Is there gonna be like a huge void? Because I feel like they're probably, I mean, to the people that don't like them, maybe it's less, but as someone who did like them, who really loved Peyton, this is gonna be sad for me. This is gonna be sad.
And as we've established, I'm bad at outrose. But leave a like, I'm still craving validation. Okay, doodles.